Let's get to the story that's shaking the golf world. We'll go to the back page of the Express to set this tone. Live or die, their headline. McIlroy urges rival groups to, quote, get back together in wake of Rahm's $600 million exit. Riath, a great time to be Jon Rahm in terms of his bank balance, but how confused a time, how scary a time is it for the world of golf?
It's outside of the merger announcement in June. This probably feels like the sort of single biggest moment in 2 years of chaos, to be honest. I think, it's been well over a year since LIV announced a big signing, and now they've just gone and sort of landed the world number 3. It's an astronomical amount of money. And of course, Jon Rahm is not only the Masters champion, but he's also someone who's spoken often and passionately that he would not go to LIV, that he was loyal to the PGA Tour. He's a history buff. He's a student of the game. He loves everything about the tradition, the legacy of these PGA Tour events. And to now make this decision, which of course we'll come to, that it's thrown a bit of doubt about what will happen with the Ryder Cup, which is also an event that he loves. For this to happen is fairly seismic, and then you also have to factor in the timing. This comes at a point, we've got a deadline at the end of this month for the PGA Tour and the Saudi Arabian Sovereign Wealth Fund to ratify and finalise this merger. Those talks are very fraught at the moment. There are a lot of moving parts, which again we'll probably come to in a moment. And for LIV to do this now, to come in and say, right, we're going to take this crown jewel from the sort of PGA Tour, that is an enormous statement of intent. It is really shaken up the game, because Jon Rahm, outside of Tiger Woods, Jon Rahm, Rory McIlroy, Jordan Spieth, they're probably the most recognisable names on the PGA Tour side of things, and they've come in and they've been able to take him away.
Yeah, absolutely. As well, you mentioned Rory McIlroy as well. He's been an outspoken, principled opponent of LIV Golf, hasn't he, Martyn? But he's got more pragmatic. Back page of the Times cover this story. Change Ryder Cup rules so Rahm can play, says McIlroy. Basically, Martyn, because Rahm's such a good player, come what may with the potential merger or not, do you sense that Ryder Cup will allow LIV Golf players in the next round of games at Bethpage?
Well, I think McIlroy was definitely speaking as somebody who just wanted to have Jon Rahm on his team, and you can understand why. But Paul McGinley, he made an interesting comment in the piece by my colleague Rick Broadbent. He said the Ryder Cup is basically the one tool that the players and the tours have got to use to negotiate to get a good deal with the Saudis and LIV Golf, and don't throw it away just by changing the rules like that. And I think that's probably some wise words, actually, because once they change the rules, then it's there's nothing to negotiate with.
OK, let's get a different take on this. The Telegraph by James Corrigan. The piece we've seen a couple of times already pictured there. Rahm and his new kit, LIV Golf kit. Rahm's LIV move blamed on American-led power coup. And a figure that was a controversial one at the Ryder Cup as well on the American side has been named here. Tell us about this, Riath.
This is the kind of political melodrama that underpins the entire saga. So this report's following on the back of reports in Sports Illustrated that sort of really fleshed out the detail of what we've all known now for the past, I'd say, month to 6 weeks, which is that there's a split behind the scenes at the PGA Tour. When this merger announcement was made in June, it was very much on the basis that PGA Tour were going to accept major Saudi Arabian investment, and that was going to hold this whole shock sort of alliance together. That has slowly started to erode and change, and this very influential top policy board made up of 6 players has now started advocating for American investment. And we're talking about guys like Fenway Sports Group, whose Liverpool connection is obvious, likewise Borley from Chelsea. They're pushing now for American investment. And what that has done, it's opened up 2 possibilities. Would that be American investment to supplement what comes in from the Saudis and therefore dilutes their influence? Or would it replace it altogether? Now, there are there are influential figures behind the scenes, including Cantlay, who have really strongly advocated for that American investment, or rather, those are the suggestions which have been getting relayed to us for the past couple of weeks, and they're really driving this. Now, that's where this Jon Rahm move comes into it. There's a very plausible school of thought. Saudis have objected to this, sort of, hang on a second, we're meant to be moving towards a deal, we're meant to be getting our feet under the table of traditional golf. Suddenly they use the great weapon that they have at their disposal, which is an absolute vast quantity of cash, and they've turned around. And as I said in my previous answer, they've just gone and snatched Jon Rahm for upwards of £400 million and made this statement, this enormous power move, I suppose, which is really, it's really served as a reminder of where you know, who holds the whip hand in these negotiations. The PGA Tour will argue trenchantly that it's them, but ultimately we've seen through this entire scenario that money is what talks. It was always going to talk, and it's spoken loudest in this situation with Jon Rahm.